If you're watching this video, you're likely someone who considers themselves a high achiever, whether that is trying to learn anything that you can, increasing your productivity, or moving up the ranks. Well, recently I got promoted to a managerial position after only being in the workforce for about 3.5 years, and it got me thinking about the things that ultimately led me here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tyler Warlow, and I make videos on things I wish someone had taught me when I was younger. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about some of the top things that you can potentially do to help progress your career more quickly. These come from my own personal experience, as well as things that I've learned from reading books or podcasts that honestly I feel are what helped me reach a managerial position in only about 3.5 years. While I've not done this one personally, one of the easiest ways that I can see for people being able to progress and make waves at their company is having a willingness to travel. There are many different reasons that companies might need someone to travel. This could be as simple as meeting a new client or as big as establishing a new operating base. And I know this is a big one because it can require you up and moving, leaving the life that you currently have and putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation. But honestly, there's benefits within your job and even personal benefits as well. And a lot of people unfortunately aren't able to travel for their job, and usually that's due to personal reasons like family, and that's perfectly okay. But if you make it clear to your company that you are willing to be flexible and move to new locations if it's going to give you new opportunities to learn and grow, then you should make that known. Usually this can come with the perks for opportunities for advancement or learning new skills within your company. Some additional benefits that are more personal are the fact that you are able to see new places. You get to travel the world, experience a little bit different cultures than the single place that you've been. This exposes you to new things, new ideas, and new people, which can increase your breadth of knowledge much faster than if you had just stayed in your single location. Now, one thing to note here is just being willing to travel isn't always going to help advance you or increase your pay. You have to show that you are capable of taking on that role and being able to take on any increase in responsibilities that come along with that. If you're willing to travel, but you're not showing that you're very successful in the places that you go and that you're not very capable of taking on the roles, then obviously that's not going to help you to progress. Now, one of the things that I did personally do, which I feel like led to a lot of growth for me, was taking on a single contributor role for my company. If you haven't been exposed to this before, this essentially means that you are going to be the single person working on a particular project rather than having a team built around you. This can honestly be a pretty nerve-wracking experience, especially if you haven't been in the industry very long. But if you're someone who's able to take that charge and take that lead, take the project by the reins, and then lead it to success despite being the only person on it, it shows that you are someone who is capable of leading things to success despite maybe not having the resources to do it. In my opinion, it also presents some of the biggest opportunity for you to learn and grow in your role because it makes it so that you have to work on all these different aspects of the job that if you had a team around you, you might not have been working on otherwise. For example, in my role, I had to take on a lot of kind of project management or project leadership responsibilities that would normally fall outside of someone with my experience's scope. I had to have a lot more interaction with the client and vendors to coordinate that project towards a successful completion. If I had been on a team, I'd honestly just be focusing on my deliverables and letting my project manager handle that. So it taught me a lot in learning how to navigate those interactions and building my soft skills that I maybe wouldn't have gotten a chance to build otherwise. So the two really big perks of being a solo contributor on a project are, one, if you demonstrate that you are capable of leading a project by yourself to completion, then it shows that you are valuable to the company. And two, it offers a lot of chances to get to do things that you might not have gotten to do until later in your career, allowing you to learn and grow much faster than maybe some of your peers would. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, we're going to talk about our next point, and that is taking on some sort of team leadership role. Being a solo contributor is great because you get to try and take on many different responsibilities, but being on a team and having to actually work with and coordinate different personalities is a whole different ballgame. Usually projects that have teams are much larger in overall scope, so there's a lot more deliverables and different things that need to happen along the way to lead to the project's success. Demonstrating that you're capable of manning a project effectively, whether that is on the project side or the people themselves, can help you to progress a project towards completion and ultimately show your value to the company. On the project side of things, learning the daily ins and outs of what's going on and what's happening with your project is critical to pushing the project to success. So learning how to navigate different situations will really help push the project forward. On the people side, developing your soft skills and learning how to manage different personalities is really critical to pushing the project towards success. For instance, how you have to approach someone who is really self-motivated and is capable of getting their work kind of done ahead of time versus someone who maybe doesn't necessarily want to be there all the time or has other things going on in life are two totally different approaches that you have to be aware of when approaching those people. And there's more that goes into team leadership than just the project itself. Getting to know your team at a personal level helps to build trust within the team. And honestly, when you build trust within the team, then you have people who are much more willing to do things to see the project through to completion than if you don't really have that trust. My personal mindset with management is that I don't really like to ask people to do things that they don't really want to do unless I myself am willing to do it. That goes a long way with a lot of people, but that's not the only thing to do. So taking on a team leadership role and learning these different aspects of the job, whether it's the project side or the people side of things, will help you to progress your career forward. Now, another one that I think has made a pretty large impact on my career personally is taking part in some form of mentorship. And that's going to be on both sides of the spectrum. So that means having a mentor yourself and then offering mentorship to those who might be younger or needing your advice on projects that they haven't seen before. Honestly, having a mentor has helped me to consider different perspectives that I may not have considered otherwise. And honestly, I advise having a mentor who is somewhere where you want to see yourself in your future, because it's best to have someone to learn from who's done what you want to do. They're going to give you the honest advice of how they had to approach different situations rather than just giving you wishy-washy material that they haven't really put into practice themselves because they aren't where you want to go. On the other side of the spectrum, always being willing to answer questions or teach someone something new is so important to building relationships and building trust within either the team or your company in general. Don't get me wrong, I recognize that people are busy and they might not always have time to answer these random questions. But if you're someone who's willing to take that time to teach people, then it's got benefits on both sides. First off, it helps you cement your knowledge and make sure that you're staying up to date on whatever the newest thing is, because you're having to take the time to actively engage in it and teach someone else, rather than it potentially getting fuzzy because you haven't touched on it in a while. On the other side of things, it helps to build trust with the person who's asking for your mentorship, because showing them that you're willing to answer questions and give them guidance on things that they might not have seen before shows them that there aren't really stupid questions or that they're not going to be shamed for not knowing something. Everyone started somewhere in their career not knowing something. So if someone comes to someone and asks them a question and kind of gets ridiculed for that being a stupid question, it makes them not feel comfortable to ask those questions in the future. And that's the kind of thing that can lead to silly or dumb mistakes that could have been prevented altogether if you had just taken the time to teach them something and make them feel comfortable to ask questions about things that they don't know. This builds trust between you and the individual, and it brings value to the company because you're improving the overall knowledge base and the ability of different employees to get the job done. Now, my final piece of advice for being able to progress your career is making sure that you have regular check-ins with your manager on some sort of predetermined basis. I know that not everyone likes doing this because it can take time away from their work, but this is crucial for giving your manager visibility into what it is that you're doing, as well as any project successes that you've had. How can you expect your manager to defend you or push for you, whether that's a promotion or a pay raise, if they have no idea what you're doing? Having some sort of regular check-in where you give them a brief description of what it is you've been working on lately, any obstacles you've encountered, and then any wins that you've had helps them to stay up to date. It also gives you an opportunity to check in with them and ask them what it is that they're actually looking for in someone that they're looking to promote or maybe give some sort of pay raise. That then allows you to have an understanding of what those expectations are so you can work towards meeting them rather than going into and ask for a promotion or a raise blindly and realizing that you might actually be falling short of whatever that threshold is. A piece of advice that I picked up from a different podcast that I really recommend implementing is having something called a praise folder. So in your email, you can set up different folders for different types of emails that you can put those emails into. Having a folder in your email called your praise folder gives you a place to put any emails from clients or peers thanking you for your hard work and appreciating you. Then when you go to your manager, you can bring all of those emails and show them, look at how good of a job that I've been doing recently. This helps to establish your value at the company. And honestly, it's something that I have done. I haven't necessarily had to use it in my role, but I still keep track of any of those emails where I have people thanking me for the things that I've done. So I just threw a lot of different things at you that can help progress your career. But if I could summarize them all in a single point, I would honestly say it's being willing to go the extra mile, being flexible, being willing to move, being willing to mentor others, as well as taking on some extra work here or there, all show your value to the company. All of these are things that if you do them repetitively and you make sure that your upper management has insight to them and they're seeing that, will over time lead to you getting a promotion or a pay raise if you keep that visibility. It's important to note that these things are not going to come instantly. These are things that you have to do over time and show that this is something that you are willing to do for the long haul. Just being willing to do something for a couple short months and then putting it away as soon as you get promoted usually isn't going to end up leading to very happy people. But with that being said, that brings us to the end of the video. If you found the information in it to be helpful or informative at all, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to join me along in this self-improvement journey. If you have any ideas, thoughts, or questions of your own, please let me know with a comment down below, as I like to read and respond to all of them. If you're interested in more videos like this one where I talk about career-related subjects, be sure to check out this video right here where I talk about 5 lessons I learned from my job. If you're interested in more of my most recent stuff, be sure to check out this video right here. But until the next time, this is Tyler Warlow, signing off.